tech tip for the Fusion system. Now, if you would like to change the scene starting point of your 360 panorama, then what you want to do is simply come down here to the panorama editor on your virtual tour. When you get to that page, it's going to load your first panorama, and what you're going to want to make sure to do is that you select to load your 360 panorama. When you load a 360 panorama that will spin all the way around, you will notice that you will have two buttons over here. One says pan left and one says pan right. And these buttons will rotate your panorama in the direction indicated. So pan left will pan it left, pan right pans right. And what you want to do is rotate the panorama around to the view that you want the customer to first see when the panorama begins to play in the virtual tour. Now you'll notice that when this panorama was loaded, the view I had was pointing back at the house right here. Instead, what I want the customer viewing the virtual tour to see is this beautiful landscape in the background with this beautiful pool. So I use the pan right button just to rotate my panorama around, and all I want to do is just make sure that the view that I'm looking at is what I want my customer to see. So I use the pan left and pan right buttons to rotate the panorama to that view, and then I simply just click on the save button, and that has now set my scene starting point for my 360 panorama. Let me show you one more here real quick. I'm going to load this panorama of a hotel, and notice that this particular room, it's pointing at the sofa. That's the starting point of this particular scene. So all I need to do is rotate the panorama, and I'm going to rotate it to face the beds because that's what the customers are first going to want to see when they're viewing this particular room. So I'm going to start it on the beds here so that as the panorama comes up and starts to rotate, the first thing that they will see are the beds, and then they will continue around the rest of the room. So again, this time I used the pan left button to rotate it to the left because the beds were to the left of the view that I wanted to see. I've got the view set right here. I need to click on the save button, and that will save this view, this angle in the panorama as my new scene starting point. So if I go ahead and click to view this virtual tour, and with the tour loaded here, I'm going to click to view that pool shot, and notice that the pool shot begins with that view that I selected using the panorama editor by simply using the pan left, pan right buttons to rotate the panorama around to the view that I wanted, and click save. And now the panorama opens up here with the beautiful view of the landscape and the pool. Let me click on that hotel room real quick, and notice that the beginning, the scene starting point for this 360 is the view that I had selected. So that's all you need to do. Simply use the panorama editor, and on the panorama editor, rotate your panorama using the pan left, pan right button, and then simply click save. And then to edit another panorama, you just use that green up arrow, load that panorama, use the pan left, pan right button to rotate your panorama to the view that you want to see when it starts, and then click the save button. All right, everybody, enjoy Fusion.